Hey babes, welcome to the Happiness Heals channel. My name is Miss T, and today we're doing the Paycheck Bill Tracker for my second paycheck. This time will be a little bit different. I plan to put together a budget based on what I estimate my expenses to be for the upcoming payday, and then I will go back and fill in actual numbers on my payday with the amount that I was actually paid and what I know my final expenses will be for the month. This is a little bit different than the budget mom, but it works best for me, and hopefully you will see that it can also work well for you. My method is a little bit different than the budget mom because I create a budget before my payday and then a budget on my payday. In this session, I will be creating a budget before my payday. If you check out my prior Paycheck Bill Tracker video with my first paycheck of the month of April, you will see my process for developing my actual budget or payday budget. In this video, I will show you how I put together my estimated payday budget, which is in the budgeted column of the Paycheck Bill Tracker. So for this paycheck, I want to allocate what my income sources will be for the month. Let me actually start by writing in the date. Will be April 17th, 2020. Now, the first step in putting together your Paycheck Bill Tracker should always be listing your various income sources. I have my paycheck from my job, as well as a pension payment that I'm paid once a month. I have a little cushion that goes into my savings account, as well as any rollover. For this paycheck, we're going to assume that I make the exact same amount that was included on my last paycheck. So for my last budget, my actual payment amount was $2,914.63. It may change by the cents, but that doesn't change things a whole lot. Then I also receive a once a month pension payment in the amount of $42.67. And then I also have a savings rollover amount of $50. Then for rollover, just to be safe this time, I know I may actually have a significant amount for rollover that comes with my actual payday. And when I get to payday, then I'll budget that into my actual budget. But for now, to be on the safe side and a bit more conservative, because I don't have a lot of expenses, I will just say 0 for rollover. Adding all of that up, $2,914.63 plus 42.67 plus 50 equals $3,007.30. All of this information is being written in the budget column of my Paycheck Bill Tracker, and that's for the purposes of estimating what my budget will be for the month. I have quite a few bills that come out at the end of the month, so I'm going to write each of those in. Haven is actually like my gym membership. Bill for that is due on the 18th for 18th. And last month, they didn't charge us actually because everything was shut down. I'm not sure if they're going to do that again this month. So I just want to estimate for it in case that it does come out. And then if it doesn't, that's additional funds that I can put towards something else when I get to my actual pay budget. The budget for that is $268. Yes, quite a bit for gym and wellness, but trust me, it's worth the investment for now. And then an afterpay payment, and I just put EC there because that's for some planner supplies I bought, and that is due on the 23rd for $20.27. And then I also have Netflix due on the 23rd, and it is $15.99. And I also have my student loans, which I will be working to reduce that amount quite aggressively over the next year, but I actually have a few other financial goals that I want to focus on first, including my medical bills, and then also I would like to focus in on paying off my car early. So in order, my financial goals are paying off all of my outstanding medical bills, paying off my car note, and then paying down my student loan. That's more of a long-term goal for me. Navient is due on the 24th, and it is $286.83. Then I also have a progressive payment. Oh, Actually, now that I think about it, I need to make an adjustment here because I do have a rollover. I forgot in my last paycheck, I actually set aside $319, which was half of my amount due for Progressive. So this number is actually going to change. And I'm glad you're getting to see this in real time, because you will see as you're putting together your paycheck bill tracker, even once you get the hang of it and you know the process, you will still have to make adjustments and tweaks as you realize there are things that you might have overlooked throughout the month. So in doing this estimated budget, I do want to include that rollover amount because I know for a fact that that is there. And then when I actually get to my payday, I will see how much more I have in terms of cash or extra money in my checking account to put towards the rollover balance. That changes my total to $3,326.30. Now I can fill in Progressive, which is my car insurance, and this is actually an extra payment for my daughter. So if you watch my prior video, then you know that I paid off my 6-month premium amount in full, the paycheck before last, and so I didn't have a payment to make. But this coming payday, this one on the 17th, I actually will have an additional amount that I need to add because I've added my daughter, who's a 17-year-old high school senior, to my insurance, and obviously that has bumped up my premium quite a bit. So my Progressive payment on the 24th to pay off our full 6 months will be $637.77. I have storage, and that is $155. And then I also have Wells Fargo, which is my car payment, and that is due on the 26th for $405.25. Let me go and add up those amounts now. Right. So my total for my bill section is $1,789.11. And then the amount left over from that would be my income, $3,326.30 minus $1,789.11, which leaves us with $1,537.19. I do not complete my variable section until the very end of putting together my budget, simply because it allows me the most flexibility, whereas my sinking funds, extra debt, and savings tend to be where I know I have very specific things that I want to save towards. So I'm going to work on those sections next, and then come back and work on the variable section at the end, and I'll back into the number that's left over once I determine what my sinking funds, extra debt, and savings are. It's a little bit complicated. I plan to continue doing these videos so you can learn my method and see if it works for you, but it actually is a better way to me. It's because it allows you, as I said, more flexibility with this section. I actually implement a minimal cash budget. So that means I don't really take out cash envelopes anymore. I've lost my wallet a couple times, a significant amount the very last time I lost it. So I no longer take out cash from the bank except for my sinking funds amount or additional amounts that I need to either keep in my wallet or I need to put to the side until an actual payday where I use it. For example, my Progressive payment, my last paycheck, if you watch my prior video, I set aside $319. I actually withdrew that money from my checking account, put it in my car insurance sinking fund envelope, and then I plan to redeposit that money on my paycheck or just make up for it during this paycheck when I actually need to use that money. So for sinking funds, I have been using the following: Christmas 2020. My goal is to have a $3,000 savings budget for the year. And so I am setting aside $130 per paycheck to get me to that goal. And I also have memberships because I will be paying for my Amazon Prime annual renewal fee in May. And so I am saving $24 per payday until that due date. and that should be able to cover that amount. And I also have special days. Special days are birthdays and holidays outside of Christmas for me. Put $20 in that envelope. Then I also have my Be Happy fund, which is my personal thinking fund for me to be able to purchase things that make me happy. Shoes, perfume, an experience with my family, all kinds of little things that I try to save towards. And for that, I will actually put $30. I want to start doing a car insurance sinking fund for my next 6-month payment. Let's say 60 for now. I'm going with an estimated amount. Once I go back and check my numbers, I will probably change that with my actual, depending on how much I have to work with. And then I also would like to start setting aside funds for pet expenses because my little dog is a very expensive little animal. We have $40 for that. So let me add up what the total is for that. We have a sinking fund total here of $304. In terms of extra savings, I know that I like to put a checking cushion amount of $100, and then also an emergency fund payment of $25, as well as now I said in my last video that I was going to stop calling my long-term savings account long-term savings because it really isn't. I'm just going to call it a savings cushion. So I have a checking cushion and then a savings cushion, and I will put $25 in that amount, so that is a total of $150. And then going back here to extra debt, that one is $200. And then this one would be $100. And then this one, let's estimate that to be $60 for that one as well. I don't even need to do the math for that one. That is $360. So we have $1,537.19, which was my initial income minus my bills. That amount minus $304 for my sinking funds estimated amount, minus $360 for my extra debt, and minus $150 for my extra savings. That leaves me with a variable expenses total of $723.19. And normally I would be a bit worried about that because that's a bit conservative for our family and all of our expenses. But under the current circumstances, I think I can actually stay within that budget. I've actually had to work with about that amount my last payday, and we did really well with that. So I'm going to assume that that is my budget. And once again, that may change by the time I do my actual budget, which I will film along with my cash envelope stuffing. And you can see how these numbers change when I actually get my paycheck and make real-time adjustments in terms of what our expenses may be. My variable expenses for this month are groceries, dining out, beauty, medical, pet, dry cleaning, gas, car wash, I combine those, charity, and miscellaneous. So now I'm going to take my budget of $723.19. I actually had that already in the calculator. And I'm going to try to break this amount down into these different categories so that I end up with that total. Let's see, for groceries, I really haven't been spending as much as I thought for groceries. So I think I'm going to stick with $60 for that. Let's subtract $60 there. And then I noticed that I do have a couple of expenses in terms of doctor's appointments for my daughter this month. My daughter actually has a BT copay of $30 on the 27th. And then she may be attending a KKI session, so that would be another $30. I'm glad I did check that because I do have a couple of additional expenses. I think before I do dining out, I actually want to look at my medical expenses. And let's see, we have 3 copays identified for the month, and I'm actually going to estimate that KKI might be $40. I think that copay might be $40. So that actually gives me a total of $100 for my budget for medical. And then also for my pet, he has a vet appointment as well this month on the 24th. So I will assume maybe $150 for that. So we have the $60 that we've already taken out minus the $100 for medical minus $150 for pet. And though these seem like arbitrary numbers, they are actually very heavily reliant upon my budget calendar. If you haven't watched the Plan With Me or Budget With Me session where I put together this monthly budget calendar, I highly recommend that you go back and you watch how I put this together. This is very, very helpful. It's based on the Budget Mom's philosophy in terms of breaking down your expenses for the month and then also color coding what paycheck those expenses are associated with. So I can look at it visually and see that all of my copays that come after the 17th are covered by this paycheck. And so I want to make sure that when I'm putting together my budget, I include those expenses, all of my bills, all of my copays. And if you note, I try to be very detailed with this. So I know that I'm a makeup lover. Sephora is having a sale coming up. And so I know that I want to make sure that I have a little bit of money set aside for that sale as well, so that that does not blow my budget. The Budget Mom always says that you do not have to deprive yourself of all the things you love and enjoy. You need to just be cognizant of where that money is coming from and the adjustments that you may need to make in the other areas of your expenses or your budget in order to accommodate that. And so that's what we plan to do. I mentioned that I've set aside the $150, the $100 for my pet, $100 for medical, $60 for groceries, which now leaves me with $413.19. And then for dry cleaning, I want to set aside $20. I don't have a lot for gas. I will put in the same amount that I budgeted for my last paycheck, which was $40, because I really don't think I even used all of that. And then, as I mentioned, for beauty, I would like to buy me a few things from the upcoming Sephora sale. So I will set aside $100 for that. And then for dining out, we actually dine out a lot in my family. So I will set aside $150 for that. Then charity, I always set aside about $25 for that. And that is money that I can literally either help out my family, friends, or strangers with throughout the pay period. And then miscellaneous is what is left. So it is $78.19 left to put in my miscellaneous fund. And the final step in terms of finishing out our budget is just to make sure that we zero out everything. So going back, let's look at the income total minus our bill total equals $1,537.19. We carry that amount down here to the leftover row. Then we subtract out the envelope total, $723.19, which leaves us with $814. Or we carry over that $814 to the leftover row in the sinking fund section. And then we subtract out our sinking fund total, $304, which equals $510. Then we bring that $510 down here to the leftover row of the extra budget column. And then we subtract out the total for that amount, $360, which leaves us with $150. We then take that leftover amount and bring it down to the extra savings column. $150 minus our savings total, $150, leaves us with $0. That is our way of making sure that we have essentially allocated a place for every dollar in the paycheck. To summarize, putting together your paycheck bill tracker is actually pretty straightforward once you get the process figured out. I would say start with income. Write down all of your sources of income and your estimated budget for what those amounts will be. Total that out, and then write down all of your bills in accordance with your budget calendar for the month and the paycheck that you're covering. So for this paycheck, I'm covering my April 17th payday, and I know that all of the bills highlighted in green, according to my key, are to be covered with this paycheck. So I wanted to make sure that I include all of those bills in this section. And as I mentioned, using the process that I implement, if you forget a bill and realize that, hopefully before your paycheck actually hits your account, it's okay. You can just go back in, write in that extra amount, and then when you do your actual budget for the month, you can include those amounts and make the appropriate adjustment. So you're really budgeting twice, but you're just getting more accurate as you actually encounter your money, which helps the process and helps you stay on track. Once you complete your bills, you subtract that total from your income, and what's left over is then what you allocate between your variable expenses, sinking funds, extra debt, and extra savings. The way that I like to budget, I save my variable expenses last, and I focus in on what my sinking funds are, my extra debt, and my extra savings. I write out those different allocated amounts, total them up, and then I subtract that amount to give me what my variable expenses should be. So income minus bills minus sinking funds, extra debt, and savings totaled will give you your variable expenses total. And then for variable expenses, yours may be completely different from mine, and that's okay. The most important piece is that you make sure that whatever you allocate for each of your variable expenses totals up to be whatever that difference was from the amounts that you subtracted from the other categories. In other words, and the most important part of this video is make sure that when you subtract everything out, your total is zero. The Budget Mom strongly emphasizes that, and I strongly advocate for that as well, because if you're leaving money on the table at the end of your payday, you're more than likely going to allocate those funds to the wrong purposes. Even if you say, well, if I have $200 left over, I'm going to put that to savings. Trust me, if something comes up and we're in an unprecedented time where things are coming up, you're more than likely to not spend those funds the way that you originally thought that you would. And so that is the reason why it is most important where you give a name to every dollar that you make. And so if you have that $200 and you want it to go to savings, just put in a line item under extra savings and put that $200 there, and it will still equal out to zero, and you will be following the right process. I hope this was really helpful to you. I hope that if you like this video, you'll let me know by giving me a thumbs up. And also hit that subscribe button as well as the notifications bell, because I have plenty more of these videos to come, and hopefully we can both find this process a lot easier. I can answer any questions that you may have down in the comment section, and we can grow together and become debt-free and financially prosperous. I hope that you're safe, I hope that you're prosperous, and I hope that you come back for my next video. Ciao!